Now it's on. Good morning. Before the meeting starts, I want to remind you all that we are still wearing masks. As you know, the CDC's already issued another COVID vaccine. That's always a good indicator that it's still a problem. So we're setting up clinics. We'll make sure anybody that wants a vaccine can get it. But in large group settings, particularly in this room, because this room is a sealed air system. So it's not circulating with the outside or any other part of the building. And I'm just a little bit selfish in asking everybody to wear a mask, because if we have someone test positive, our team has to make way too many phone calls, deliver too many meals, tell you all that, well, you were sitting near enough to this person, that kind of thing. So we're better off if we all just stay masked. Thank you for your compliance. That was all I got.
Wow.
I just figured we'd start off on the wrong foot.
Yeah, there you go. Start off to a flying stop. Well, good morning, everybody. So, is this loud enough? I'm sorry, Reggie. Okay. We have a number of people who are not here because they're off seeing the tulips. So I thought about putting tulips up here, and I thought, no, we're going to go with daffodils. So here we are, the April assembly. Let's begin, as we always do, with some words of wisdom and prayer from Leslie.
Good morning. I have a different prayer for us today. It's something I didn't write, but someone sent it to me, and I thought it was very good. It's by a spiritual teacher, Mary Mrozowski, who is known for her centering prayer work with Father Thomas Keating, and it's called the Welcoming Prayer. Let us pray. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I welcome everything that comes to me today because I know it's for my healing. I welcome all thoughts, feelings, emotions, persons, situations, and conditions. I let go of my desire for power and control. I let go of my desire for affection, esteem, approval, and pleasure. I let go of my desire for survival and security. I let go of my desire to change any situation, condition, person, or myself. I open to the love and presence of God and God's action within. Amen.
Thank you. So let's begin with the approval of the minutes. Meg Ludlam. Yeah.
Okay. I believe I did not have any changes to the minutes from that I put out of the last assembly meeting, so I'd like to ask for their approval.
Well, wait just a minute, because I realized I didn't do something. Call the meeting to order.
Oh, I already counted that.
So, say it again.
Oh, okay. I believe there were no changes to. I believe there were no changes to the minutes from the last assembly meeting, so I'd like to ask for their approval at this time. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Allison, our treasurer's report.
Good morning. Our account balance remains unchanged at $2,057.02. That 2 cents may get me in trouble sometime. I have a letter here that I would like to share with you from Medic One Foundation. Thank you, residents of Hearthstone, for your generous gift of $2,000. Your support means a great deal to us and plays a vital role in preserving and enhancing our region's outstanding paramedic training program. Currently, paramedic training class 50 is in the midst of the second phase of their 10-month training program. Your contribution directly enables us to offer such intensive training, which are essential for preparing our students to handle the demands of emergency medical care effectively. Your generosity ensures that our Medic One paramedic training program continues to uphold its high standards of excellence. And then a handwritten little addition to the letter. Thank you, everyone at Hearthstone, for your generous and long-standing support of our paramedics. I thought you'd appreciate hearing that.
That's really great. And the other thing that we do with money is, of course, the Employee Appreciation Fund. Carolyn?
Hello, friends. Today is my final opportunity to speak to you as the member at large who is responsible for the Employee Appreciation Fund. And I just want to thank you for your generous giving over the past 2 years. And I know you will be responsive to the new person in this position who will come with new creative ideas. You know, I like to think of our years here for all of us as our encore years. You know, if you go to a performance and you especially like what you've heard, you hope for something little more at the end, right? A special gift to you, and it will give you a little more joy. We ourselves here as senior citizens are encore people, right? We're sort of at the trailing end, you know, we feel our minds and bodies sinking a bit. But it doesn't mean we can't be useful and that we can't be a little extra gift to others. So, and especially to those employees that are some seen and some are unseen. So I really encourage you to continue being encore people in your same giving, generous ways of the past. Thank you.
It's so nice to hear someone say we're still useful. Thank you. Okay, time now to hear from Hearthstone Management. And of course, let's call to the podium our CEO, Reggie Mullis.
Good morning again. I really don't have much. Let's see. Hallie gave me a couple of pieces of paper here. And let's see, I got another note or two here. So really not that bad. Tim Alton, our facilities manager, was not able to be here today. He was finally able to take this week off. I think he postponed that 2 or 3 different times because he, along with Stacy Massaros, our Senior Director of Health Services, and Emmy Kupat, who is our Director of Nursing in our health center, they've all been working in the background to respond to the survey we had by the state and the federal government. So it was our skilled nursing survey, very comprehensive survey done once a year. You can't stay open, you can't have a license unless you have a good survey and pass, the requirements. So a lot of work being done in the background. Stacy and Tim meet almost every morning, but we finally last week really got everything resolved, and most of that was with the fire marshal's office because there's also a simultaneous inspection of the health center and other areas by the fire marshal during that skilled nursing survey. Here's the good news. Once everything went into the state, normally they would look at our responses, they would decide if they are acceptable, which they did, and then they would come back and re-inspect. But, and this has rarely happened in Washington in recent years, is they elected to do what's known as a desk review, which means they're not even coming back. That's how satisfied they were with the quality of care. I completely agree. So all that to say, Tim's been really busy and he finally got to take some time off. So he wanted me to let you know that he continues to work on the irrigation systems around the community. He said not a lot of progress has been made. I don't necessarily fault him for that, but he's now gotten the city involved, and he says the city of Seattle is being cooperative in helping us understand, particularly that corner where the meadow is, that what we're able to do, because some of that has right of way to the city. So more to come on that. Tim can update you, and if we see any significant progress, we'll send out a little note about what's happening with that. But I want to thank everybody so far that's been involved with the various gardening committees. Things are really starting to come to life around the community this spring, and I just so appreciate all of those that have been involved both here at Lakeside as well as the Cove Garden, and we're doing some additional work around the Cove buildings right now, again, to sort of bring all of that landscaping back to the level that it once knew. Tim also wanted me to let you know that because there have been some questions about an incident that happened, and I think now it's been more than a month, maybe 2 months ago, where we think, but we have no proof, we had an intruder in the building that went into a number of rooms, particularly rooms where the door was open or where the door was unlocked. They essentially appeared to have gone up and worked their way down, and they took a number of items, including, I think, a purse or two, and the end result of that was just about everything was found in a stairwell, except any cash that was involved, and I think there might have been one ID card that was missing. The bottom line is we still have no idea who that was. We have looked at hours and hours worth of video footage to try at every angle we can think about where they might have come in, when they might have come in, where they moved around the building. And we never got an image of the individual. We don't know if it was a male or female intruder. So instead, we are now focusing on your security, and Nate is going to introduce someone to you that we believe has been a big part of improving what we do here, particularly overnight. But once again, I'm going to caution all of you, if you're not in your room, your door should be closed and locked, period. If you're not in your room, your door should be closed and locked. Let's see. I want to update you on the resident survey. I know some of you are wondering, that survey was in November, and we still haven't been able to make a report to you. And there are a lot of reasons, no excuses, but we have that planned. Hallie and I scheduled it this morning. It'll be 2 weeks from today, back in this room, same time, 10 o'clock, and we'll give you a real in-depth look into that survey and how it works. I want to remind you that we are using an outside company, a company that does a tremendous amount of work in senior living for providers like us. The big benefit we get not only is how are we doing when we judge ourselves, but also how we compare to most of the rest of the industry. So I think the results are very positive. And I'll say again, one of the reasons that this process took so long is that we did a blanket full survey of all residents, both in independent living at all 3 buildings, as well as assisted living in this building. And there were a lot of responses. All of you, many of you had a lot to say. And so it's been our responsibility over the course of the last few months to respond to every one of those. And our records will indicate that we have reached out, communicated to, and with all of you that had negative responses. There are certain key questions, and I know some of you go, well, don't ask yes or no because I want to tell you a lot more. It's the yes or no that triggers whether or not you get a phone call. And at the end of the survey, there's always room to write whatever comments you want to add to the survey. So, but that was, everyone got this survey during the month of during the month of November, and then there was some follow-up to that because there were a few people that missed the deadline, and we reopened the survey. That added to the length of time it took for us to get results. But I want to explain to you what happens now with that survey. First of all, we will never do a blanket all resident survey again. It's just a huge undertaking and something in hindsight we probably should have looked at phasing in over time. Regardless, we will show you what we learned from that survey in 2 weeks. But here's how the survey works now. If you are new to the Hearthstone, if you move in, you will get a survey at 45 days. We give you time to settle in. And again, at 6 months, and then 6 months after that. So it's a 6-month recurring. All of our residents receive 2 surveys a year. That is based on the month that you moved in and 6 months after that. So the company that does this for us got ahead of us in getting some of those out in February, and folks were getting surveys in February going, well, I didn't move in February. Are we doing it again? You know, what's happening? And the reason you got it in February is because more than likely you moved in August. And don't hold us to those dates. We told, We Care Connect is the company that we use, and we told them all of your move-in dates and months based on the records we have. If we have that wrong, our apologies. The reality is you're going to get a survey every 6 months. You can choose to respond to it or not. We certainly encourage everyone to respond with positive or negative concerns, because we want to know. I've told many of you, if we don't know what the problem is or that there is a problem, there's just no way we can respond to it. So thank you for your participation in that survey. Again, you will see one of those every 6 months, and we will talk again on that in 2 weeks. So rather than have to come back up here, I have one more thing. And did I miss the last page of Hallie's? Let's see. Nope, same thing. I can't begin to tell you, I've said this before, but I can't begin to tell you how much I value an active, responsive resident council. Everywhere I've ever worked, that was the heartbeat of the community in terms of management's understanding of concerns, understanding of things you'd like to see happen, things that you don't agree with. We want to know, and your resident council has done an excellent job over the last year, and councils before, but I just want to emphasize the fact that this past year, I just feel like we went from a walk into a trot into a full-on run, because we've gotten so much done. Georgia and Frank have met with me pretty much every Wednesday for the past year, and Georgia brought in a list that she made up of just all the things that have gotten done this year, and I was so proud of that list. Thank you, Georgia, for doing that. It's my turn to thank this group of folks. 2 will be returning, and we appreciate both Meg and Allison. I get hung up on your last name because I had to learn to say that correctly. So, but Allison and Meg will be joining us again. We are, and I'm not stealing your thunder. You do all this again in a minute. But we're in some ways sad to see Carolyn step out of her role. But I know she's going to continue to support the resident, not resident assistance, employee appreciation fund. I can't keep up with all the initials of everything, but because it is such a passion for her, it has been, and she did a great job last year. So I'm going to go rogue here for just a minute, but in honor of you, in honor of all of you, we're going to take a hard look at a matching program for this year. Don't know what that'll look like. It'll likely be a short, limited period of time. It might not be dollar for dollar, but we'll see. I got to put a pencil to it and see what the Hearthstone itself can really afford to generate. But we've never done that, and I think that would be an outstanding way for the company, the organization, to support that process. So thank you for all you've done. Thank you, Allison, for all you've done. Then there are 2 other people that think they're getting away, but they have agreed, both Frank and Georgia have agreed to help support our new folks. I'm so looking forward to working with Elaine and Steve and Marnie coming on. It'll be an exciting new day. I will tell you in advance, you kind of got some big shoes to fill. But I'm confident you'll be able to do that. No doubt in my mind that you'll be able to do that. Yes, sir.
That's assuming they're elected.
Oh, yeah, assuming they're elected. So keep your fingers crossed here. But I just appreciate their willingness to serve. And I think Frank's already acknowledged the fact that the nominating committee did such a great job in getting names, really twisting arms and pulling teeth to get folks to participate. But that said, I'll start with Georgia. Georgia's often quiet, but if she has a passion about something, she is all over it. And she has come to meetings with Frank and I and Hallie and really been prepared, done her homework, put together presentations that even a 3-year-old could understand. It's been phenomenal to have somebody do that. And so, Georgia, thank you. I want to also commend you in front of the group that Frank takes his annual sabbatical to a warmer state in February, March. So he missed last month's meeting. And I thought Georgia did an outstanding job with that meeting. Thank you so much for stepping up. In my mind, that was a perfect precursor to her taking the president role, but much as we tried, we haven't been able to convince her to do that. But thank you for your support this year. This guy, it's really hard for me to even talk about because he's such a good friend. He's been such a great supporter of me and the management team and all of you. He's always had your best interests at heart. And there's this sort of hole that's going to exist. No offense to Elaine or Steve, but there's just this hole that will exist, not knowing I'm going to see Frank every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So Frank has done more for this organization, for all of you, during my tenure, and maybe for years prior to that. I can't really speak to all those years before COVID, but I just can tell that his ability to really communicate back and forth between the floor chairs, all of you that live on floors that communicate to your floor chair, they come to the council communicates with the officers, and Frank and Georgia have brought that information to us. And just week after week, we tried to address issues, be responsive, solve problems, take actions, whatever the case may be. And we just could not have done that without you. So thank you both very much. I'll get a hug later. So they don't have to talk about what those are, but I'll just say this. I was having a conversation with Frank one time and we were talking about wine. Don't know why, I'm not really a wine drinker. And I made a comment and said, well, I really don't like reds. And he said, but have you ever had a really good bottle of red wine? I haven't, apparently, but I'm hoping that one is a good one. So,
Oh, there's no doubt. Oh, yeah.
Thank you all. No, I got to introduce Nate. Nate is our number 2 in maintenance and environmental. And with Tim out today, we've asked him to come and tell us about a couple of things that are going on in that area. Thank you. All you, Nate.
Hey, everybody. Just want to say thank you for letting me speak real quick. Some of you may have already noticed that we have a new floor care tech on our team working in the evenings and sometimes during the day. And he was up here doing the chapel yesterday, doing a great job on the floors. And just want to let you know I'm going to be getting with the floor chairs to set up times where we can come in and do the hallways and common areas on each of the floors over here in the main building, as well as over at Cove East, which we haven't gotten to yet. So we'll be getting in touch with you here shortly and trying to get that stuff scheduled out to get things looking good for everybody. Secondly, I would like to introduce Reggie. He has been a great asset to our team as our security manager here, and he's a fun guy to work with. He knows his stuff, and I know he's doing his best to keep you guys safe. And he's got some cards up his sleeve yet that I think he's going to pull out and try to keep working on towards that. And I'd like to introduce Reggie here to come up and say a couple words real quick.
Hello, I'm the other Reggie.
Oh.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm in the security department. I normally work overnight from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. But I come in during the day sometimes. Is this better? Okay. So yeah, normally I come in overnight, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., but sometimes you'll see me during the day doing miscellaneous things. Something I'd like to mention is the security department has a phone now, so you guys can leave us voicemails, and the extension is 5204. You can find it in your red Hearthstone directory. It's a 5204, and you can find it in your red Hearthstone directory under the facilities and maintenance department. Another thing is I do check the voicemails. Something that came up over in Cove East was there was a guy following people who were trying to walk their dogs in the evening, and I was able to recognize that and help solve that problem. So, but if you guys see anything else, I encourage you to report it and let me know. I do check it. And yeah, it's great to be here and help you guys. So, thank you.
It's good to have you here. Now, for the excitement that goes on in this community all the time. If we had a cheerleader, Kristen is our cheerleader, right? There she is. See? All right, come on up. Do you want some help? No, I got it. Good. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me a minute to talk. I'm sorry that I don't have a PowerPoint. That won't happen again. I was gone. I was at the eclipse in the Midwest with my family, got to see the corona. It was mystical and fantastic. But I just got back last night, so this is low-tech PowerPoint. First thing on the agenda is socks. I want to show you all how fashionable I am. Can you see these? Okay, so I broke my toe. I have a broken pinky toe, which is why I'm wearing socks and Tevas, because I can't put on a shoe, it hurts. And this was not planned with Caroline, by the way, but these socks I've been wanting to thank you all for a year and a half. I'd been here for 6 months at the Hearthstone, and I got, for Christmas, a check, some really nice chocolates, and these socks, which are high quality socks, and they have images of socks on them. So they're in my regular rotation, and I just happened to put them on today, but as a new employee here, I was so touched by that. Thank you for the socks. Thank you for the Employee Appreciation Fund. Volunteer forms is number 2. Last month, I gave you these pink forms, and about maybe 12 people gave them back. Thank you for that. We are still looking for ideas and still looking for volunteers. I wanted to mention, most of you said you would be interested in helping bring people down to events in the chapel. It turns out there has to be some training involved with that, so stay tuned. I mean, it kind of makes sense if you're going to be pushing folks in wheelchairs that you would have some training, so stay tuned. And for those of you who are interested in our new CITO learning program, which is cognitive decline, intervention for cognitive decline, the training for that will be in a few months' time. Someone's coming from another state for the second training. So thank you. Keep the ideas coming. My office is downstairs. Come by anytime and bring your ideas. What's number 3? Music. We have so much music coming in, and for the next 2 months, it will consistently be Thursday night at 7. What's today? Thursday. That means tonight we have music. We have Ballard Brass. It's a quintet. I've heard them. They're very good. They're here tonight at 7 p.m. Next Thursday at 7 p.m., it's Mike Fast and his swing band. The following Thursday, it's some other awesome music. It'll start at 7. It'll end at 8. So if you want to support music in the community, please come. Please spread the word. Also, thanks to Laura Saunders, we have a connection now to the head of outreach of the music program at the U. And there are many graduate students interested in performing here. So I'll be meeting with that person tomorrow, and I'm very excited about that. This Friday, is that tomorrow? It sure is. At 3:30, we have Hartwig, our own Hartwig Eichberg. Gosh, that's bad handwriting. He will be playing the Goldberg Variations in a 1-hour concert tomorrow at 3:30. Please come out to support him. And then Sunday at 3:30, we have some soothing guitar here. So there's lots and lots of music coming in. Feedback is appreciated. Yeah, that'll all be here. Feedback is appreciated. If you liked someone, let me know. If you didn't like someone, let me know. We don't want to bring back folks who irritated you. And then finally, the new stuff. Since that's a 4, new stuff. Since last month, we've added 2 new things. The first is pickleball, and that's today. The first pickleball is today at 2:30 in the Green Lake Community Center. And you can, I think about 12 people said they were interested. We've got rackets, we've got balls, and it's going to be every Thursday, at least through May, and we'll see what we get. Just having a guaranteed court time is really something right now. So pickleball, number 1. And number 2 is the second Saturday socials. Wait, let me write these down. The question is transportation for pickleball, and the answer is you have to get there on your own. But we'll look into that. If we could fill up the bus. Yeah, if we have to cart you over there, you're probably a spectator anyway. Okay. And yes, question? I agree, and I'm sorry about that. There are 2. No, because everything had already been set up beforehand. She's talking about Hart is playing here on Friday at 3:30, and then again at the Coves. So, I mean, go to Hart first, right? Whichever Hartwig performance you can go to Hartwig. David Hahn is someone who's going to play some really soft guitar. Come if you can make it, that's great. But if you can't, I would say go to Hartwig, and I'm sorry about that. It just happens sometimes. I don't know what to say. Yes, another question? Question? No. Okay, somebody saw that. Thank you, Penny. Second Saturday social. Oh, the joys of being a teacher, right? People see all your mistakes. Second Saturday social is going to be on the second Saturday of every month. The first one is this Saturday, 10 a.m. At the Water's Edge. And it's just a chance for you all. There will be a topic. There'll be an hour. There'll be coffee and pastries, and just get to know you. Everybody gets a few minutes to talk about a topic of choice, and then we open the floor to general conversation. So if you're interested in building community, come on out. 10 a.m. every second Saturday, Water's Edge. And finally, 2 more things. We have a new team member. We stole Grace Ott from the front desk. But Grace is fantastic at organizing things, and you will see them at lots of events. I'm hoping that Grace might be interested in organizing the game night or trivia night that we've been talking about, because Grace is a great organizer. Anyway, look for Grace in resident engagement. And finally, last month I issued a March challenge, which was apparently not very compelling because only 2 people filled it out. Which is, there you go. If you advertise something well, that's the quickest way to kill it. So we got 1 haiku, and I'm going to close by reading you the haiku. Riveting River is the title, and it's by Mary Kay Crescenzia. Ides of March idle, in the river runs through it, gaily giggling glee. Thank you.
I'm reminded of a quote from Emerson. This young woman has just kind of brought us alive, I think. It's absolutely wonderful. And the Emerson quote that comes to mind is, "Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm." Thank you for your enthusiasm and all you do. You folks going to stay? Because this is going to be pretty brief. Yeah, go through, because then you can be around for the election if it occurs properly. So, excuse me, let's have some resident council business. The dining committee report from Penny. There you go. Yeah.
Good morning. Nice to see everybody. Here's the skinny on our eating from our April committee. In May, Terry Pointer will become chair of the committee, leaving her role, her double role as secretary and Cove East rep. Resident rep changes include Lakeside, Issa Warney from the 7th floor, and Joe Ployd from the 9th floor are leaving. And Dinah Hartley and Jean Greif will be taking their places respectively. Cove West, Betty Woito is leaving, and Madeline Minks will take her place. And in Cove East, Jill McAuliffe, former chair of the committee before I was, is going to take Terry's place as Cove East rep. For the March and Easter birthday dinner and the Easter dinner got rave reviews. The salmon and the special sauce, the steelhead actually, and the special sauce were great. However, in terms of ratings from the Happy Kiosk, January was 78% happiness, February was 80%, and March was down to 78%. In terms of upcoming special meals, in April there'll only be one special meal, a birthday dinner, and then in May, there will be a Mother's Day and a birthday dinner. And then after that, the crew is planning some extra special meals again. So, any questions? Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Laurel? So as Laurel comes up, this is a report on the newsletter committee, except she can't get out. I just want to mention that Laurel and Meg chaired that committee. They have been working very, very hard to pull something together, and I think you'll be excited to hear this report. Here you go, microphone.
Okay, everyone can hear me okay?
Great, thank you.
Oh. First of all, I want to tell you how the vote went for the name for the new newsletter, and we had 120 responses, which was good. Yeah. Voices won. So the name of the new newsletter would be the Hearthstone Voices. And the committee has wrapped up its work. We now have no more work to do, so we're disbanded. As previously announced, it'll be a single resident-driven monthly newsletter with resident input, resident-driven, with hopefully some input from the staff as requested by the residents. It's going to go at least at first, and probably for a long time, the Illustrata company that helped with the connection, because it's going to be very easy to plug and play. They do a great job, and it's the most reasonable cost. It costs less than sending stuff off to Staples to have copied on plain paper. The problem is, and that's per page, the problem is they only do a maximum of 8 pages. So we had talked all along how it'd be nice to have, in addition to a newsletter, to have a writing journal. Might call it a literary journal, but also just a writing journal that would be literary and some of the educational writings that were done. And maybe do that quarterly. And we do have a couple people interested in that. What we do need, also, I should say about the newsletter, it's time sensitive. It has to be completed by the 15th in order to get published by Illustrata. And that means the events, anything date driven is not going to be up to date. They'll put in what they can, but it's going to be more about telling about special events and maybe prior outings. Residents might write about prior outings. There'll be pictures because it'll be in color. So in addition to the newsletter, the resident engagement staff will still have the single page, both sides, insert that has the activities and the fitness schedule for the month because they could do that last minute. And management will continue to use Touchtown as their primary source of immediate information. A staff member for resident engagement will be working with Illustrata as far as the format goes, but the content will come from residents, as I said. Sharon Doyle is actually stepped up to help lead this effort, but she can't do it alone. So we need to have other leaders. So at this point, there's no date for newsletter. No one has volunteered as such to help her out. We have lots of proofreaders and writers, but we need someone to help support the organizing of it all. And Sharon is one who's willing to do that, just not by herself. So without that, eventually it'll go to the small former connection with basic input from management in Illustrata. So if you want to see a newsletter, we got to have at least one other person to step up and help Sharon Doyle. Any questions? Okay, I think your floor chairs will talk about it at your floor meetings as well, about who to contact.
Thank you. Thank you for your good work. Yes. Georgia, Dining Room Entry Committee, Couch and Chair Committee.
The dining room wait area furniture was expected to be delivered about April the 26th. However, the fabric for the chairs is being delayed. So we have no word exactly when it will be delivered. However, I'm going to send a note to the whole committee as soon as we know the date. And they're going to let us know within 2 hours. And we're all going to be down there waiting for it.
Great, thank you. Well, those of you who've been going to the movies lately know that they've been silent movies. So that's the way I'm going to introduce Don Bell. Silent movies, you know, it's before talkies.
Silent, it's one thing I never am. Okay, now you know what's playing at the movies this month. The first week of the silent movies was a Charlie Chaplin film. We had 36 people here. I was delighted. This coming Saturday night, we have Buster Keaton and the cameraman. Marvelous work. Buster Keaton is an amazing silent actor and director and producer. And they all did multiple jobs back in the era. And you get a real sense of the history of what came before what we watch now. So we also have on Tuesday nights, we're catching up showing films that, for one reason or another, we scheduled and didn't show. And then we have one film that was one of the Oscar-nominated films that very few people came to see, probably because we warned them. And then after it got the Best Actress Academy Award, several people came back to me and said, "Oh, I couldn't make it. Can I come see it?" And so on Tuesday night, we're showing it again. And there are some other films. Yesterday, we had our monthly meeting. It was a wild meeting because I asked people to bring their own thoughts about themes for the future, and we had 5 different candidates. And all of a sudden, we've gone into another gear in the. On May Saturday nights, we're going to have a series of British comedies. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but think Monty Python. Okay, and on Tuesday nights, we're going to have a series of musicals, including one I can't help sharing with you, the Rocky Horror. That's it. Rocky Horror is going to be here, so think about your costume. And this is a true cult classic. Okay, and there are some others there as well. The other thing I wanted to say, well, number one is I want to thank Reggie and Kristen and all of the resident engagement people, and Eric, who is now direct support to the committee, for the enormous amount of support that they've given us that allow us to show just about any movie that's out there available in this room and at the Coves. So we can't do it without that kind of support. The other thing has nothing to do with movies. It has to do with Kristen Kent, and she was talking about music. And there's one musical activity here that she did not, she didn't mention because, you know, she's so inward going. She doesn't like to blow her own horn. But if you have not come to Music Bingo at the Hearthstone, you are missing one of the most events that you can possibly imagine. They're every other Thursday at 4 o'clock, right here. Wednesday, I'm sorry. What day is it today? Okay. So truly, all of us had lives as teenagers, I think, and we all loved the music of our teenage years. Well, think about listening to that again. There's a lot of singing and dancing, and you're missing something if you haven't come. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Don. Okay, now we'll do quick little floor reports. Eunice is the floor chair from 4th floor. Do we have any representatives from the 4th floor? Oh, there you are. So hang on, we'll bring you a microphone. Oh, you're in a booth. Wow, okay, thank you. Sorry, Eunice, I didn't see you out there.
I can't say no report after that, can I? I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, we have several people moving from independent living into assisted living. I can't say at this time who they are. But other than that, there's not much news.
Okay, thank you. Laurel, do you want to do? Huh? Yeah, sure, here.
So our only news is that the guest room is now on the 5th floor. So 520 is now the new guest room.
Well, let Reggie add a little to that.
Yeah. So first of all, when you reserve a guest room for someone that's coming to spend time here, we can't guarantee you the room we give you will be the room they get. That's the first thing is think like a hotel. You can't call a hotel and say, I want room 323. We will give you whatever room is available at the time. The good news is we've now dedicated a second apartment. So we have 2 guest rooms. And today, that's apartment 520 and apartment 615, if I'm remembering that right. Next week, it could be something else. So don't get hung up on floors or room numbers, but our intention is to maintain 2 studio apartments for your guests over the long term. If we need an apartment for a guest of the Hearthstone, we will use another area. We try to keep those 2 open. So we knew summer was coming, lots of people visiting. And if you call to reserve and both rooms are not available, just ask whoever you talk to in reception to contact me. It's possible we could have another area. It might not be as nice as the 2 guest rooms we've built, but sometimes we have a small studio. It's clean, it's available, but it may not have any furniture in it, but we have rollaway beds and, a chair, whatever. It just depends on how much you want your visitor to stay here. We also have, I think, some deals worked out with local hotels, maybe a bed and breakfast, and the front desk knows about all of that. Okay?
Thank you. So, Molly? Look at this. Look at Reggie and Hallie. They're doing everything. Wow.
Yeah, the 6th floor was saddened recently with the passing of Carl Thurman. He was a dear friend and neighbor to all of us. Pardon me?
No, we can hear. That's okay.
Oh, my mask.
That's all right.
Anyway, and you just learned that we have a guest room on our floor, 615. We were just notified they're working on it now, so it should be ready soon, I would assume. And then our game night continues the last Friday of every month, and we hope you'll come and join. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. 7th floor. Jim?
Move-ins. We have a move-in this last Monday, Rich and Maria Brooks in number 708. They moved in Monday. I see boxes in the hall, so they're still moving stuff around. I guess that'll go on for a while. We have a move-in the 1st of May, Rob and Jean Bowman in 703. Both these units, again, are facing the schoolyard. So just to give you an idea, they're both 2-bedroom units, I'm pretty sure. That's it.
Thank you. 8th floor. Liz? No report. All right. 9th floor. Jean? No report. Boy, that's called brief. Sheila, 10th floor. Right behind you, Sheila. Mask. There you go.
So we're sorry to be losing our guest suite, but we're very happy to think we might have a new. They said they needed it, and we think that's for someone to move in, which will be really nice because we need, a few more bodies on our floor. They're still working really hard on the combined unit. I can't remember which one this is.
1025.
Okay, yeah. So, and that'll be supposedly occupied August 4th. I think I've said that before. Otherwise, I think we're barreling along and pretty good.
Great. Thank you. So, Cove East, Denise and Linda are both out of town. So Penny's going to do double duty.
I'm doing gruesome twosome here. Okay. This bloke next to me, Steve Neville, is going to become, if elected, resident council executive vice president. Denise Lentini is leaving her post as Cove chair, but she is becoming our resident engagement representative. Linda Peterson is our new East Chair, and I'm going to be her vice.
Okay.
I thought that was funny, but I guess it wasn't.
No, that's all right. Yeah, it's okay. There's good humor in there.
Okay. And very important, Laura mentioned this, Sharon Doyle is the editor of Hearthstone Voices, and we really appreciate her
Yeah.
efforts to do that.
I'll urge people again to let the new leadership team know if you're at all interested in helping Sharon. It's going to be need some help. So now we go to Cove West. Elaine, do you want to do one last thing as floor chair from there? No, not yet.
Cove West is cruising along in fine shape, thanks to our fine social director, who keeps coming up with great ideas. We had a Easter egg hunt at our last happy hour, or prior, a couple weeks ago, I guess. And nearly everyone who attended, which was about 20-some people, all came, men included, in their Easter bonnets. So, yeah, that's my last hurrah for this job. Alice Spears will be taking over for me. And thank you all. I'll see you somewhere else.
If things work well in just a minute or two. All right. So now comes the really important part of the meeting, and that is election of the new slate. I'd be remiss if I didn't take a minute to say these people here, these four ladies, have worked extremely hard over the last year and have done a fabulous job. So give them another round of applause. And I personally also want to recognize Hallie and Reggie because, as he said, we've met with them. And I'll send out a question. Here's part of the way it works. After our last council meeting, what came up in the council was a certain resident had an issue with something specific and didn't feel it was being resolved. The question was, well, how does that get answered? What do we do? And the response was, you bring it to us, to Georgia or I, president or vice president, and then we take it to Reggie. And we did that. And then Reggie says, okay, great. I understood the problem. We'll take one more step to get it solved. And that's the sort of thing that's been developed. Reggie has worked very hard to develop that kind of, if you will, chain of command that has worked very, very successfully, I think. And it's his dedication and Hallie's dedication. And I'll write Hallie an email, like at 7 at night thinking, okay, she'll respond tomorrow morning. Within a half an hour, it's back. Come on. They've worked really hard over the last year. And so thank you. We really appreciate that. So if you will recall, I watched it on television, the last residents' assembly, your slate of officers was introduced. I want to add that we will present them, but we need to ask this question. They've been nominated, but the bylaws say other nominations may be made in writing at the April meeting by 10 or more residents. This is the important part, with certification that the nominee agrees to serve if elected. So I will now ask, are there any other nominations for any positions on the Residents' Council? Hearing none, we'll make the executive decision to ask the new slate to come forward, please. The nominations are for President, Elaine Plugstra, Vice President, Steve Neville, Secretary Meg, who right now, as she's being reelected, is taking minutes, Treasurer Allison Butello, who's still counting money, and at large, Marnie Perry. All right? Why don't you come over here so the camera has you? Yeah. So, that's it. Great. Yeah. Get on down. So, with the power invested in me by nobody, I will now call for a voice vote by acclamation of this new slate of officers. All those in favor say aye. All those in favor say aye robustly. All right. Opposed? We now have newly elected officers. Congratulations. Now, Elaine, could you come up here for just a moment? There you are. Your first official act is to adjourn the meeting because you're in charge now.
Oh my gosh.
It's time for us to thank Frank for his leadership. It has to be. I can praise her for all the things he's done, but just one thing. He had one dominating goal for the year, and that was building community. And thank you. That's what you've done with all of your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yes, I have some very large shoes to fill. The bar has been set high. And now, as my first act of power, I declare this meeting adjourned. See you next month.
Oh, I forgot. Yes, that's right. Now that
Too late now.
we waited to make sure that the election happened. So these are now biographies. They will be placed on the back of the table back there, so you'll know who they are. We didn't want to distribute them in case, All right? Thank you.